First off, this will be really fun. We're going to be today will be fun. We're live streaming this. We're going to be speaking with some incredible folks from Lightspark, Mento Labs, Dynamic, Borderless, and then Loop Crypto. So we have a really exciting session for those who are watching. We saw this report come out last week, our team, and we were just like, this is incredible. We love when people take the time and effort to put quality and attention and depth of focus into what's really exciting going on with stablecoins. So just we're excited to dive into this and collaborate on this session with you. I think it would make sense to start here with just your intro and why you guys decided to do this report in the first place.
Sounds great. So maybe I'll give a very quick about me, then about Dynamic, and then to your point, why we actually put this together. But very quickly, for those that don't know, I'm Itai. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Dynamic. We've been at this for about 4 years. Today, we have customers like Stripe and Kraken, Zero Hash, and Magic Eden, and Ondo Finance, and Maple, and a bunch of and Loop Crypto, and a bunch of folks that we are very fortunate to work very closely with. Really, what Dynamic does in a nutshell, just so everyone knows, is we're really a wallet infrastructure company. Right? The vision of Dynamic, and it ties to the report, is that if you open your phone in 5 years, every app on your phone is likely going to have a crypto component. That's how money is going to move around. Therefore, every app on your phone is going to have a wallet component. And that's where Dynamic comes in. So we do both embedded wallets. We let you connect external wallets for pay-in type functionality. And that's where Dynamic plays. And specifically, this report is, we have found that I spend probably 80% of my time talking to fintech companies outside crypto, not to crypto companies. And where that time is spent is essentially chatting about how to do global pay-ins, payouts, how to move money. And what we realized very quickly is that folks want to leverage crypto rails, but it's really, really hard. It's still not where it needs to be. And so we said, look, we gotta spend time, and we've found ourselves spending time with product teams and engineering teams just to educate them as to how to build with crypto in a way that doesn't take a lot of their time. And the output of that is the Stablecoin Playbook, right? It's how do you actually approach this? And that's where we're spending our time. You'll probably see a version 2 of this. You'll probably see some changes in our docs as a result. But that's kind of that is the reasoning for why we put this together, is really to say, look, the next set of developers and the next set of folks thinking about this stuff are not going to be crypto native. And we as a community of crypto native companies have to do a better job of kind of educating folks about the power of this.
Yeah, we are extremely passionate about partnering with you guys in that. I think there's a huge gap. We call it the navigation problem at our business. There's just a huge gap of commercial interest right now, and all these companies that are wanting to get involved with stablecoins and everything they do. But there's this huge divide between the possibilities of infrastructure and what's out there as like recipes or Lego blocks,
right,
to actually what you need to, how you need to fit these things and stitch these things together. You guys are in a really interesting vantage point as a wallet company or an accounts company. I know you guys do so many things, but you are often in this position of stitching a lot of these pieces together. So it makes a ton of sense to me why you would be wanting to come out with a report like this. I'm sure it'll also help you guys from a internal resourcing and scaling standpoint to give, hey, go check out this PDF. We love helping you build. We'll hop on a call, but go read this. This is a beefy report. This is 55 pages. And I'd love to just start, Itai, with you on the core takeaways from this report. You guys have a few of them, and we can just kind of knock them off one by one, and kind of as we kick off this session, help people start there. I'll read this and then we'll tackle these one by one. So this report was created to help product builders, fintech teams, and developers understand how to navigate the stablecoin landscape. I love that word, with clarity and confidence. It breaks down the mechanics of stablecoins, the infrastructure required to use them, and the regulatory context shaping their future. Whether you're exploring payments, remittances, or neobank products, this guide offers practical insights to help you go from idea to launch. Incredible cohort of folks that you guys have brought together: Paxos, A16Z, Braille, Kiln, M0. The list is way too long here, and we'll be hearing from a handful of these folks today. So, Itai, we start with these key takeaways. Let's just kind of go by these one by one. We can spend a few minutes, if you would, on what these core takeaways are
Yeah.
in your own words, and yeah, speak a little bit more to this. So the first takeaway is stablecoins are no longer just for crypto native users. Speak a little bit to what you saw there.
Yeah, absolutely. So and first, by the way, to your previous point, we were fortunate, and I think what we found as we reached out to folks is this really resonates, right? And you can see on the list, you can see Web3 native companies, but you can also see companies who are super forward, kind of facing, innovation facing, like Ramp, right on that list, who are all thinking about this very actively and all saying, hey, let's put this thing together. But to your point, the main takeaway, and a very key takeaway is that the use case is not for crypto native companies, meaning the idea, the goal for stable coins is to power global commerce. Excuse me, I woke up with a cold, so apologies. But um, um, the goal of stablecoins is to power global commerce. It's not to power crypto commerce, right? If we think about the next few years, I really hope we actually stop calling ourselves crypto companies and we're just next generation fintech companies. And that means that your next generation neobank, that's going to start not within a country, but rather going to start global first, will require these crypto rails to actually execute, right? If you're thinking about, a neobank or remittance app that starts in the US, if it wants to expand internationally, the quickest way to do that and the most efficient way to do that and the most cost efficient way to do that is actually crypto rails. And so the main takeaway, and the main kind of, thing people should take away from, should walk away from this is that we're not talking about how to implement crypto for the sake of implementing crypto. We're talking about, hey, there's a better rail here that can help you move global money, that can help you remit payments, that can help you remit vendor payments, can help you accept payments globally. That is the lens you should approach this with, whether you're a crypto company or not. Right, that is a takeaway here, from this first main takeaway.
Yeah. When we think about the difference, I know Dynamic has been around. How many years has it been, Itai, that you guys have been around?
Almost 4 years, 3 years and 10 months, but who's counting?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
4 years you guys have been building, and you've seen this, what, in the last 6 to 12 months, this shift, like crypto native is sort of, but historically, like the tech itself and the rails that underpin a lot of this, that you guys have been innovating for that time. This isn't day one for you. You're 4 years in here.
That's right.
And the use cases, when I think about crypto native use cases, these are like focused on crypto, acquiring them, exchanging them. People who are wanting to involve themselves historically in the tech mostly have been people who care about crypto, people who want to acquire crypto assets because they want to speculate on them or get involved. Like, that's a super different ICP use case than, a family in an emerging market who wants global dollar access. So it is interesting to see the shift there, but okay.
You're right. By the way, on that point, what you realize is that even 4 years in, a lot of the assumptions we make, as dynamic are no longer true. Meaning, to your point, the infrastructure is there, but when you build for a crypto native audience, you can very easily explain, look, you have to pay gas. Here's how you abstract away gas. You have to think about, okay, use a Veeam. That's how you do ETH calls, right? Like Web3.js connect, like, on Solana, right? And all these kind of don't hold true when you're talking to a fintech engineer, right? As soon as you're like, wait, just think about 7702, EIP 7702 and gasless transactions, you have lost the plot, right? So even
Yeah, they're
for
gone. They're out
us,
the door.
yeah, yeah, they're like, okay, great, like not, please come back to me when you're saying sane words, right? And so a lot of this actually was also learning for us, which is you really have to start from scratch as to, okay, who are the ICP, to your point, what do they know, what do they not know, what are they trying to build for, and optimize the product for that.
Yeah. So in terms of choosing wisely here. So the second point,
Yeah.
issuer, token design, the idea of starting from scratch, the underlying chain. We're seeing companies like Stripe come out and say that they're coming out with their own chain. Like this is very relevant right now. Talk a little bit about choosing the choices that these companies really have
Yeah.
at the bare bones.
Yeah, so companies have kind of a meaningful amount of choice in Lego blocks, but that creates, an infinite amount of kind of, complications, or infinite amount of permutations that folks can get into, which makes this more complex. And by the way, one of the things we're seeing is that the rise of kind of all-in-one players that pretty much try to give you the full stack as in one thing. But the choice for, let's call it a Stripe or a Robinhood or a Ramp or any one of those is really kind of first defining the use case. Are we paying in? Are we paying out? Is it about global money movement, etc.? But then they have to choose first basic stuff, right? How do I think about wallet infrastructure? How do I think about custody? Am I custodying funds or am I not custodying funds? Are these non-custodial, right? If it's non-custodial, and this is where regulatory comes in, what technology am I comfortable with? Not just today, but technology that will kind of stand the test of time on compliance and non-custody. So for instance, the reason, we in a very biased way have chosen TSS MPC is because we have extremely strong compliance kind of, you know, um, uh, confidence that I don't hold the full private key. I hold a share, and the user holds a share, and the user has kind of the ability to block any signature or do anything there. And so a lot of the decisions are around not just technology, but the regulatory impact of that technology. So wallet kind of decisions are important. They have to choose how they on ramp money into a chain or off ramp money from a chain, right? They have to choose how they do for FX and kind of settlement at the last mile. But then if they're more sophisticated, they actually have two more choices, right? The first one, and that's where you see a Robinhood come in or a Stripe come in, they have the choice of, do I choose a chain that exists or do I build my own, right? Am I giving away a part of the revenue that I can have of building a network, or do I build a network on my own? And within that, they can choose, do I do it as a layer 2 solution or an L1, right? You can see Robinhood choosing a layer 2 versus Circle and Stripe both saying, look, we're building our own layer 1 solutions, right? So that's another more sophisticated choice. And the last one is a choice around, even, do I use a stable coin like USDC and USDT, or do I white label my own, right? And enjoy the treasury revenues there, right? So you have these increasing complexity decisions, and you don't have, for anyone listening who's in these shoes of making these decisions, you don't have to make all of these on day one, but these are kind of different levels of complexity that you can go into that have far-reaching consequences for how your product is built.
Yeah, and it's just a teaser to go deeper into this report. Again, I mean, this is a long report. We're just hitting the highlights here to actually explore deeper those implications, because there are very important implications. And I think what's interesting, again, about Dynamic here is that you guys are partnering and integrating, and really the ecosystem around Dynamic as a company is strong enough where, from my own vantage point, companies who have specific priorities, who want to go build a non-custodial thing and have that be a huge priority, with users have keys, they sign everything, it's like incredibly focused on that priority. You guys can serve that, but you can also serve a company who's like, maybe more on like where you want to own that side. We're the zero
Yeah.
hashes of the world, and we want to, have a custodial model. And you guys can, serve both, which is really cool. Um, so dive into the report. Don't stop here. Number 3, blockchain rails offer advantages over traditional systems in key areas. So Itai, what are some of these key things that you're seeing
Yeah.
blockchains disrupt here?
Yeah, so you're seeing this in kind of multiple facets. You're seeing this in kind of trading, right? And you're seeing this in money movement. But really, um, you know, at the end of the day, it's really about kind of um, three main things, right? Three main advantages that crypto rails bring, right? If you're to benchmark crypto versus Swift or crypto versus ACH, etc. The first one is speed, right? In crypto land, we debate whether, 10 seconds is fast enough or settlement time should be 1 second or it's 5 seconds or and some folks say, no, it has to be 100 milliseconds, right? Those are the debates we're having, right? It's not the debate that ACH has, which is, can I same day settle ACH one day? Or do Fed now type stuff, right? And so the speed component, and that is doubly true in Swift, right? The
If
speed
it's a weekday.
component, yeah, exactly. That's advantage number 2. We'll get to that in a second. But to your point, the speed component is so fundamentally different for global money movement type action that it's remarkable how of an order of magnitude, 2 orders of magnitude shift that is, right?
Hmm.
It's your ability, just like you Venmo someone and it just shows up. It's the ability to do that globally for whether it's $1 or whether it's $10 million. The second one, and to your point, is, hey, we are kind of in a world that works 24/7. And it is insane that you cannot trade outside working hours, that you cannot move money outside working hours, that your bank kind of says, great, we'll settle it tomorrow. That is an insane concept that cannot exist in the future. There's no, I'm willing to take if anyone's willing to take the other side of that argument, I would love to have that debate. But my argument that regardless of crypto, ignoring crypto, let's assume crypto, we would still be arguing that in the next couple of years, we're going to have faster money movement and it's just going to happen 24/7, right? And crypto enables that, right? So that is a second really, really important point. You can see this with trading, right? And tokenized stock, right? It's the argument that, hey, why are we limiting our window of trading to 7 hours a day? Let's just make sure it's 24/7 and you can actually trade stock. The third part is around, or when I said 3, I really meant 4. The third part is about fees, right? It's like, what is your cost when you send $100 from part 1 to the world to part 2 to the other side of the world? What is your cost doing so? And again, we're arguing in crypto land about, okay, 0.001 basis points, so the fees are extremely efficient versus a fee of paying someone in a non-primary rail of essentially not US to the UK, but rather US to Nigeria, right? You can have significantly more impact there. And the fourth one is really the global natures of this, right? Is the fact that you don't have to mix and match different systems, right? You don't have to take Pix in Brazil and UPI in India and combine them, and then take Venmo and take Bit in Israel or whatever and combine them. You have a single unified system that actually works globally. And that's an extremely powerful advantage that crypto brings.
It's really, to be honest, reading this simply on paper in a single sentence is probably one of the best simplified descriptions of why stablecoins are just taking over finance in this way. Like, all of these things uniquely deserve their own attention and own spotlight, because settlement versus availability versus cost versus the global nature of it, all
Yeah.
4 of those things are different. And they all combine and kind of shine in different ways depending on what payment use case you're trying to disrupt. And some people
Right.
I've seen, I don't know if you've seen this, but some people will only look at one thing and they'll say let's just pick settlement times. RTP or this, specific region is pretty fast. What's the big deal? But you're like, okay, you're only looking at one of these things. it fires me up to actually have all four of these things. And maybe what could be cool to do, we could even work on this with you guys, is like the recipes of, if you take those four areas, which use cases, or in what parts of the world, for instance, are like, combine three of the four, we're disrupting this. Combine one, you're disrupting that. All right, moving on. I think we have, let's see, we have just two more here. So, sorry to make you dizzy. So regulatory
Yeah.
clarity. We're going to be talking specifically with Kevin Latinity and the Borderless crew on this today. What are you learning around just the crazy couple months you've had on the regulatory front?
Yeah. So, first, to your point, Kevin's an expert in this, right? And the Borderless team are experts in this. And so, and this, by the way, alludes to why we wanted such a kind of great kind of set of partners to work with us on this, is because there is no one expert in this. Dynamic is, we do a lot of things really well. We're the experts on everything, wallets and the space in general, but there's so much nuance here, and bringing in folks who are the world leaders in this stuff is critical, right? And that's why we structured the report as is. Now, to your point, look, crypto does not live in La La Land. Crypto lives in the same land of regulation as everything else. Okay. In order for this to be the way global money moves, you have to have regulatory clarity, and you have to ensure folks follow that, right? That crypto does not give you any additional rights on compliance or regulatory versus anything else. You follow the same rules, and when the rules aren't the right rules, you kind of want to make sure that you have regulatory clarity, in order to operate within what's right. Right. And I'm extremely bullish on this. I'm still happy about the Genius Act and kind of clarity, etc. They just provide, as the name suggests, a lot of clarity for us.
100%. All right, last one here. Number 5. Launching a stablecoin app or feature set is no longer a massive lift. Maybe give us the before and after of like 4 years ago. What would
Yeah.
have been like versus now?
Yeah.
High
So
level, obviously.
fair enough. And here we're biased, right? Because this is where dynamic plays, right? We're a wallet infrastructure company, but really we try to abstract away crypto, right? It should be the vision of all this stuff should be that you wake up in the morning, you open Cursor or you open Windsurf, and by midday you have a full working Venmo competitor or neobank. Right? That is the vision. That's what we're going for, and that's what will enable this industry, right? If you are to move 4 years ago, you would have to think about, wait, folks need to save their seed phrase, and how do I move money into someone's wallet? And how, I need native currency like ETH in order to move money within a wallet to a second wallet, right? And I need to how do I think about custody, and how do I think about recovery, and how do I think about all this stuff, right? And that's stuff does not exist anymore. Right? These are all problems that are soft problems that you should not think about when you're building your app. You should really think about, just like you implement Stripe and you have, credit card payments, or you implement Plaid and you can kind of connect to any bank. You should be able to implement dynamic or a set of tools and just have crypto enabled, right? That is what we're going for. And that is kind of the main takeaway from this, is to essentially just be able to wake up in the morning and build your global app.
Yeah. There are a lot of things behind the scenes here. I know I'm sharing my screen. We don't need to go into all of this, but I know you guys have described the business from just a visual standpoint as electrical sockets in the house, and just making it really simple to use end applications, plug in, get power, get energy. It's almost like, imagine having to, anytime you want to use something that requires electricity, needing to go and build that, wire system and connect those dots manually. It's interesting. I just love that visual that you guys talk about.
It's exactly right, right? Like, you do not have to think about how your electricity system works in your house when you buy a refrigerator. You just assume that thing connects, and the rest kind of works. It's the same with a computer. You don't need to think about how computers work, or you don't need to think about how LLMs work when you ask ChatGPT a question. That is what we're going for here, which is the full abstraction of this complexity and the ability for you to just do it without any kind of, knowledge of crypto specifically.
Yeah. Anything as we close here? Really excited to just have the next few sessions here with these builders and founders. Was there anything for you, Itai, just as from your vantage point as the leader of Dynamic and just working with some of these folks directly that
Yeah.
you uniquely learned or surprised you, or stuff that maybe stood out as wow, like I actually was slightly surprised or intrigued by this thing specifically on the report,
Yeah.
or
I would argue that the effect of the report was surprising to me, specifically around the number of startups that are being started now that leverage all these tools that we were not aware of. So we got outreached by, I was just last night, literally at 11 p.m. my time, I was chatting with a company out of India that is doing kind of a crypto first neobank there, right? And that I would not have heard about that company without this report. And that has enabled, like, they read this report and they're like, this is exactly what we're building. These are the exact tools we're building. And so that was surprising to me, is how much this resonates with folks. As a result of this, we're going to have a V2. We were fortunate to have a lot more partners reach out to us, so we're going to have even more kind of expert opinions that folks would be able to read. But that was surprising to me. Is this is not hypothetical. This is happening now. Whether we write the report or not write the report, this change is happening now. This revolution is happening now, and I think if we can bring more of it to the forefront, we're happy campers.
yeah. And so this was a business that, for example, saw this report, began to use it in this research or insight-driven
Yeah.
nature. It's helping them think through the decisions they're making, and now has turned into what sounds like a really meaningful lead or partner for you guys.
That is exactly right. That is exactly
Awesome.
right. It's the same with a lot of Web2 companies that have been reading this report. I think if you look at the types of companies that have accessed it, it's from the full spectrum of Web2 fintechs, banks, etc.
Yeah, it's awesome. There's a huge power in content. It's something that we just are very rooted in within our business as well. Is just like putting content out there, helping people understand, working with top voices, people who are building, sort of like the adults in the room, if you will, like really trying to help folks build and think about this in a level-headed way. There's such a desperate need for more of that. So Itai, thank you, and shout out to Joanna too. We have to give her a shout out. I'm sure she was behind the scenes doing a
Yeah.
lot of stuff to make this work. So
Joanna, and actually one more person is Matt on our team, Pearlstein, who actually led this entire thing for us and has done an
incredible.
incredible job. So shout out to him as well.
Awesome. All right. We'll move on
Very,
to our next session. Thanks, Itai.
very cool. Thank you so much.